Om Namo Narayanaya, welcome back. We are finishing today chapter 11, Calculation of Time from the Atom. In my last video I left off at verse 15, and then ranted about science, questions about science when it comes to Hinduism, translation issues, and I even brought in the Church of Christian Science, the Christian Science Church. And did a little comparison, though it was brief and off the cuff, because I have questions and issues. And, of course, this is a channel where we're reading the scriptures, but also I open the floor to conversation and learning and developing and deepening and just the whole thing. Sadly, we don't have time to get a lot of my questions answered, but anyways, if you have answers and if you suffered through that video, thank you. I promise I won't start a rant after this one. I have things to do with my day, so I'm not going to rant on this one. But I would be interested in having a talk about science with anyone who is interested, and you can feel free to private message me. Anyways, we're going to start today with verse 16. I'm sure I'll have questions running in my mind, but I won't keep you long, so here we go. Vidura said, I now understand the life durations of the residents of the Pita planets and the heavenly planets, as well as those of human beings. Now kindly inform me of the durations of life of those greatly learned living entities who are beyond the range of a kalpa. The spiritually powerful one, please tell me. You can understand the movements of eternal time, which is the controlling form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because you are a self-realized person, you can see everything by the power of mystic vision. So please, answer my question. Maitreya said, Vidura, the 4 millenniums are called the Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali Yuga. The aggregate number of years of all these combined is equal to 12,000 years of the demigods. The duration of the Satya millennium equals 4,800 years of the demigods. The duration of the Treta millennium equals 3,600 years, and the duration of the Dvapara equals 2,400, and that of the Kali Yuga is 1,200 of the demigods. The transitional periods before and after every millennium, which are a few hundred years as aforementioned, are known as the Yuga Sandhyas, or the conjunctions of 2 millenniums, according to the expert astronomers. In those periods, all kinds of religious activities are performed. The Satya millennium, mankind properly and completely maintained. In the Satya millennium, mankind properly and completely maintained the principles of religion. But in other millenniums, religion gradually decreased by 1 part, as irreligion was proportionally admitted. Outside of the 3 planetary systems, the 4 yugas multiplied by 1,000 comprise 1 day on the planet of Brahma. A similar period comprises a night of Brahma in which the creator of the universe goes to sleep. At the end of Brahma's night, the creation of the 3 worlds begins again in the daytime of Brahma, and they continue to exist through the life durations of 14 consecutive Manus, or fathers of mankind. Each and every Manu enjoys a life of a little more than 71 sets of 4 millenniums. After the dissolution of each and every Manu, the next Manu comes in order along with his descendants, who rule over the different planets. But the 7 famous sages and demigods, like Indra and their followers, such as the Gandharvas, all appear simultaneously with Manu. In the creation during Brahma's day, the 3 planetary systems revolve, and the inhabitants, including the lower animals, human beings, demigods, and pitas, appear and disappear in terms of their fruitive activities. In each and every change of Manu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears by manifesting his eternal potency in different incarnations, as Manu and others. Thus he maintains the universe by discovered power. At the end of the day, under the insignificant portion of the mode of darkness, the powerful manifestation of the universe merges in the darkness of night. By the influence of eternal time, the innumerable living entities remain merged in that dissolution, and everything is silent. When the night of Brahma ensues, all the 3 worlds are out of sight, and the sun and the moon are without glare. just as in due course of an ordinary night. The devastation takes place due to the fire emanating from the mouth of Sankarashana, and thus great sages like Bhrigu and other inhabitants of Mahaloka transport themselves to Janaloka, being distressed by the warmth of the blazing fire which rages through the 3 worlds below. At the beginning of the devastation, all the seas overflow, and the hurricane winds blow very violently. Thus the waves of the seas become ferocious, and in no time at all the 3 worlds are full of water. The Supreme Lord, Lord Vishnu, lies down in the water on the seat of Ananta, with his eyes closed, and the inhabitants of the Janaloka planets offer unto the Lord their glorious prayers with folded hands. Thus the process of the exhaustion of the duration of life exists for every one of the living beings, including Lord Brahma. One's life endures for only 100 years in terms of the times of the different planets. The 100 years of Brahma's life are divided into 2 parts, the first half and the second half. The first half of the duration of Brahma's life is already over, and the second half is now current. In the beginning of the first half of Brahma's life, there was a millennium called Brahmakalpa, whereas Lord Brahma appeared. The birth of the Vedas was simultaneous with Brahma's birth. The millennium which followed the first Brahma millennium is known as the Padmakalpa, because in that millennium the universal lotus flower grew out of the navel reservoir of water of Lord Vishnu, Hari, descendant of Ratu. The first millennium in the second half of the life of Brahma is also known as the Vairahara millennium, because Lord Vishnu appeared in that millennium as the long incarnation. The duration of the 2 parts of Brahma's life, as above mentioned, is calculated to be equal to 1 nimesa, less than a second, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unchanging and unlimited, and is the cause of all causes of the universe. Eternal time is certainly the controller of different dimensions, from that of the atom up to the superdivisions of the duration of Brahma's life, but nevertheless it is controlled by the Supreme Time. By the Supreme. Time can control only those who are bodily conscious, even up to the Satyaloka or other higher planets of the universe. This phenomenal material world is expanded to a diameter of 4 billion miles as a combination of 8 material elements transformed into 16 further categories within and without, as follows. The layers or elements covering the universes are each 10 times thicker than the one before, and all universes clustered together appear like atoms in a huge combination. Sri Krishna is therefore said to be the original cause of all causes. Thus, the spiritual abode of Vishnu is eternal without a doubt, and it is also the abode of Mahavishnu, the origin of all manifestation. Thus ends chapter 11. This is a chapter that gets quoted a lot when you see discussions on the age of the universe. But I actually have a question. There's a line down here. The Supreme Lord lies down on the water on the seat of Ananta, the great hooded snake. And the inhabitants of the Janaloka planets offer unto the Lord their glorious prayers. Okay, wait a minute. When the Lord goes to sleep, isn't that the dissolution of all life? So if it's the dissolution of all life, how do we now have people hanging out offering prayers? And are they still on the Janaloka planets, or have they gone someplace else? And what are they doing while he's asleep? Question: how can you have people hanging out and praying to you if there's no world? That doesn't make sense to me. Do they eventually dissolve into something? Seriously, this is saying that the Lord dissolves the world, yet there's still people in the world. And thus there's still a world. Or is it just this planet, this one right here, that is dissolved? Our planet. And that if you happen to have gone to another planet, then you're safe. Those are not dissolved. Those can't live in some sustained world. Thus, then the question is, those people living on that planet, are they living in a world without the Lord? Or I guess they have their own scripture that talks about what life is like when the Lord is asleep. Or do they use our scriptures? Hey, kitty. It's a good, interesting question. What's going on? You don't have any answers too either, do you? Now, I have seen someone say that the other planets are not actual physical planets. that there's states of mind that a monk meditating can lift themselves to other unseen dimensions, but they're not the body is still here. You can still touch that person's body, but they are going to other dimensions. Also, when we die, our soul, our jiva, goes to those other dimensions while this physical thing is just left behind. So it's not a physical place. It's a spiritual place. Thus, how would that be affected, though, if the Lord gets rid of all the world? I guess you don't need then a physical world. But no, that wouldn't make sense, because if theoretically, if I'm meditating and I just take my soul to another place, but my body is still here, and the Lord destroys this world, well, my body's then destroyed. So I've just been killed in the midst of meditation. But because I'm in that other place, is my soul free to then leave my body and then be with the Lord? And if there are not other planets, and this is or if we are just meditating and it's just my body, if just my soul going up, if the Lord has destroyed this world, then my body goes with it. That's the plan. But then my soul won't, well, you would have killed me, and I won't be there to then, there is no other. I'm confused. I'm very much confused, and I'm confused by this one line. And I'm not a scholar of this book. I don't know what other books say about this, but it is a little... How does dissolution end if there's still people? Something isn't dissolved. Or is there another step? I don't know. I have questions, because I actually believe that this is the end of the earth. I believe that this is how the things end, and Lord Vishnu goes to sleep, and then he creates Shiva, and then the world is created, and it just is over and over again. I'm fine with that. That doesn't bother me, and we live to be 100 years, and our bodies die off, but our Shivas keep going. Yeah, I believe in that. And then eventually we all come back we are all part of Vishnu. But some people, I guess, aren't. I'm confused. Your answers would be appreciated. However theological you want to get, or basic, or you want to reference a website. It's a legit question. It really is a legit question, I think. Or I've brought up a bunch of questions because my mind's just going now. Anyways. I think I said at the beginning I wouldn't rant, but I ranted on something else. So here we go. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.